before. So this morning, let's talk about closure a little bit. 2020 was a bit scary, sad. It was a struggle-filled year in a lot of ways. All around the world, community life was shut down a bit. We didn't know what to do about that. Global economies, household finances took a hit in a lot of places. We've seen some unrest in the streets, haven't we? Social unrest, political unrest. It was unsettling. I don't care who you were or what your thoughts were. It was unsettling. We saw some climate catastrophes from the seas to the forests. We even had a hurricane or two here, didn't we? A little bit to clean up from. So it was, you might say, a remarkable year. We're not certain what the remarks would be, but we certainly have some remarks to say about the year 2020. So what can we learn about that experience? There's something that very few of us know about, and that's the art of closure. It's important to close out on everything, whatever it is that has happened in your life. It doesn't matter what it is. It is important and ethical even to close out on events, experiences, maybe relationships, whatever it is, they need to close kindly and lovingly. Let them go. So it doesn't matter what it is, it's important. I ran across this week. This is SpongeBob, for those of you that can't see it, and he's rolling his eyes. How many of you ran into SpongeBob? He is one of my favorite characters. He was popular when my grandchildren were very little, and from 2000 to 2005. Here he is rolling his eyes when he thinks that someone was supposed to close the door, but he can tell they left it open a crack. So I think instead of closing the door on 2020, we must have left it open a crack, because all of that political and social unrest and the pandemic slipped in somehow. What do you think? So we're going to close the door on that. And maybe by now, we do have closure, okay? So the ending is a significant piece of one's life, whether it's a relationship, a job, stage of life, way of thinking. It may be difficult or painful for many of us. Something that you may have wanted desperately in 2020 that didn't work out for you. Let's close it out. Let's let it go. Let's move on. Closure means finality, a letting go of what was. Finding closure implies a complete acceptance of what's happened and an honoring of the transition away from what's finished to something new. So if you're still holding on this morning, whether you're in this building or out there in the world watching, if you're still holding on to some kind of anger, worry, resentment, fear, unforgiveness, or whatever it is over whatever subject, I hope I can talk you into letting it go and starting again. Because you see, as long as you are refusing to let go of that, you're stuck in one place, you're not growing, and you will cease to thrive. I had a little nephew that when he was born, and this was, oh my goodness, 30 years ago, he's one of my younger nephews. And he had a few issues, and he had a failure. He had what they called at that time a failure to thrive syndrome. I had never heard of such a thing. I did not know of such a thing. I didn't know anything existed, but I do know now, when I know a lot more about the world and people I've seen, people I've known that had depression and other things that they could not get over, losses, that there is a failure to thrive syndrome, and it's not just babies that can have it. And if you're stuck in a spot where you refuse to forgive or let go, you have a failure to thrive. And we were meant to thrive on this earth. We were meant to be here. Our lives were meant to matter. So whatever it is you're stuck to, it may be the sticky floor. You need to move on. And by the way, he's a wonderful young man. He learned to thrive, although it did not come naturally to him when he was born, through love and attention. And his mother held him, and his father held him, and loved him, and loved him, and loved him, till he wanted to thrive. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that a wonderful thing? Sherry and I were talking about him the other day, and how sweet it is that we can do that too. And people do that every time they recover. Their desire to thrive is what will get them through. So let me ask you this morning, what have we learned from the prior year? Maybe it was a refining. You know what relationships do? They rub off the rough edges on us, don't they? We will think sometimes that a difficult time was, oh my goodness, that was just a challenge. How can I get finished with that, get over it, get away from that, and be gone? Well, the truth is that Spirit has moved you exactly where you need to be, and your rough edges are being rubbed off. Did you know that? If you didn't know that, let me tell you, that's what relationships are for. And that's what events are for. And we can consider this event, this pandemic that happened in 2020 was a purpose. It had a purpose, and it was to rub off our sharp edges. And we all have them. So what rough edges did 2020 work off for you? You may have seen that you have tremendous fear. You have exaggerated fear even. And I hope you're working on that. You may have seen that you were responding to a political unrest that showed you an ugly side of yourself. Well, you were looking at an ugly side of someone else. And maybe you thought that's what the story was. Maybe it was you. So maybe you were having some of those rough edges worn away too. We always like to look at the other and be judgmental. But how many times is it us? And I said all the time during this time, I never said anything political. All I said was follow the love, follow the light. God is love, and God is light. And God is not fear. So follow that. Follow peace. So what are you holding on to, and why? Does holding on truly make you happy? I doubt it. Take full responsibility for yourself. Here's how to move forward. Take full responsibility for your thoughts, your attitude, and your actions. And if you are not doing that, and you're still blaming someone else, you're stuck in one spot, and you're not going to move on. So I ask you to take responsibility for your thoughts, your attitude, and your actions. Give yourself time to truly accept and grieve your disappointments and losses. Now, we know that some of the losses have been so great, and when you've lost a significant other, you can't just move on. You must honor the time that it takes to grieve that loss, whatever that is. You give yourself time to honor that loss. And then it's your responsibility to move on, because the person you're grieving would not want this for you. They would want you to give it a respectable amount of time and move on and thrive for them. So give yourself the time to accept and grieve. And your disappointments too. I know that there's some huge disappointments out there right now. The Saints didn't win the other day, I understand. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe your team didn't win. The only thing you can do is accept it and get over it and be the best person you can be in this life. You're going to have to get over it, because that's the reality. So I know there are disappointments and losses, but we must accept reality at some point and move on. That's how we can add our peace, our light, and our love to the world. I would encourage you to gather your strength and decide that you're going to thrive. Focus on the positives. I've encouraged you to do what I do every morning, and that is to first say, "Good morning, God." Hold your arms out like this and just accept and invoke God in. Right now, let's thrive in 2021. Let's make that our motto, okay? Let's thrive. Let's thrive. If prosperity has eluded you, let this be your year. Whatever difficulties or challenges, let's thrive. So gather your strengths, focus on the positives, make a plan for your immediate future. What am I going to do tomorrow? Then for your goals for the year. Do that. Write them down. If you're a person that journals, do that. Journal. Write down what you want to happen. Then create a ritual. As you journal, as you list all the things that you want in your life, in your maybe it's a loving relationship, write these all down. Choose what would make you joyful and feel that you are thriving in 2021 and the remainder of your life. Write them down. Create a ritual. Go into your quiet space and release everything that you brought forward with you, where we left the door cracked from 2020. Let's close the door on it, okay? Let's close the door on it. Let's let fear stay there, anxiety, worry. Stay safe. That's important. Right, that's still important right now, to watch ourselves and stay safe. But remember that you can thrive, and you can thrive with God's love and light. You create a ritual when you've focused on the things that you want. Make a plan, choose a step, choose to do that. Then create a ritual for that. Maybe it's lighting a candle. Light a candle, as Neil Young suggested. Light a candle. I love rituals myself. You know, every family has their own rituals for Christmas, for the holidays, Thanksgiving, whatever it is. We have a ritual usually at Thanksgiving, and everyone must go around the table before they eat and say what they're grateful for. And then we do that again at Christmas time. And of course, Andy, he's 18 now, and he's a big joker. He's always complaining about it, but I think he enjoys the ritual too. Speaking of Andy, he's Sherry has 2 children, and Andy and Shelby's in college. She's a junior now, believe it or not. Andy's in his last year at Bay High School, but for his birthday, we're all gathered around and going to eat lunch together, and Sherry gives him the card. You see, the ritual that in their family is that she got tired of spending $5 on birthday cards, and so she kept the last card because that she had given Al, and so now she gives everybody the card. So Andy's a big joker. He opens up his birthday card, and of course he's only interested in the money in it anyway. He said, "I've always loved this card. Thank you. I got the card this year." So that's a little ritual in their family that adds a little joy, and I think it's sweet. And she saves $5 every time she gives everybody a birthday card, and they just, I love that card, that particular card. But create rituals that have meaning for you personally and your family, and you personally, then in your family. And make those have meaning, and create closure. So what did we do in 2020? We accomplished a lot. We really did. We wish we could have left the pandemic behind, but we didn't. But it's better. Vaccines are out. A cure is on the way. We wish we could have left the social unrest behind in 2020, but we didn't. But it's getting better, and things are going to improve every single day, and peace is on its way. What we can focus on, and that's crucial, and if you haven't heard anything I've said today, I'd like for you to listen to this. What we can do is take the attitude that we each did everything we could, didn't we? Everything we could and we knew to do in 2020. We each did the best we could. So let's put that year to rest. Let's let it go. Let's not worry about one more thing that happened in that year. We stayed safe in the best way that we were able. We prayed for the highest outcome in social and political events, and our prayers have been answered in huge ways. Social unrest is diminishing as we are all coming together to work for the highest good. Vaccines are not only on their way, but already here. I had mine December the 10th, I'm glad to say. So the highest good is on its way. And you know that this pandemic is going to dissipate the same way. It's going to go away. So I encourage you to begin again in 2021. Take every day that we've been given, be grateful for it, instead of venting and complaining. If you're a person that vents and complains all the time, let me tell you, people are tired of hearing it, okay? Let me just be frank right now, okay? I'm going to say this and get it off my shoulders. People are tired of hearing it. We're exhausted. Would you quit with the venting and complaining, okay? Okay. Let's start over. Take every day and be grateful. Be grateful for everything we've been given. Every day that we've been given in this wonderful world, don't waste another moment on it with your fear or your anger. Jesus said, "Follow me." Put your worries down and follow me. And every time his disciples came up with a fear or a worry or a complaint, he told them to put it down and follow me. So there's a difference between being aware of concerning things and totally giving your energy to it. Don't do that. You're not thriving. Focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. 2020 wanted us to learn a lesson. It wanted to teach us how to be calm and at peace, no matter what is going on around you and in the world. Did you get the message? That's what 2020 wanted to teach us, you know. I hope you got it. So you ready to take the next step in your journey? Move strongly into the new year? Change your attitude, change your life. Isn't that a catchy phrase? Don't you think? So happy fresh start. Happy New Year to all. I thank you for your time.